Instagrammers and pageant. Damn it, that scared the shit out of me. Hey everybody, it's Andrew and welcome back to my channel. It was quite a night. Last night was the 2018 Miss Universe pageant. Much anticipated, especially on my channel if you've been following along. And let's recap the show. Let's not waste any time. Let's just dive right into it. Actually, before we get there, I do want to briefly talk about the, I guess you can call it a controversy or the issue that arose with Miss USA, Colombia, and Australia. I don't want to touch too much about it. I do want to say that I think it did affect their overall placements in the competition. It wasn't nice. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure you can find it anywhere online. But it wasn't the nicest thing that happened. It was between the three of them regarding other contestants. I'm sure it wasn't meant to be vicious or malicious or anything like that, but it came off that way, and unfortunately I do think it did affect their rankings in the competition. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Let's get right into the review right now. So the pageant took place in Bangkok, Thailand, and it hasn't been in Thailand since 2005, so it's been well over 10 years since it's been in Thailand. And I was really hoping for a similar stage to back in 2005, the way they had it. It was very cultural. It felt like you were watching a show in Thailand. I was nervous that the Miss Universe organization was kind of going to carry on with their typical stages, which they did. This was a new design. It had kind of like an X runway, so like double runways crossing each other. I didn't like it, mainly for the reason just because there were people seated in that middle triangle and kind of up near the runways, and the main show took place in the middle where the two runways crossed over at the X. So a lot of people were watching the show from behind, which I don't think is nice. Like, it was not cool. These people paid money to come see and support their delegates, and they get to watch the show almost completely from the back view. I mean, maybe it was able to create more seats, but still, I didn't like it very much. So for the opening, they had Neo performing, and the girls kind of just walked out during his song. They had some traditional Thai dancers as well. So this year they separated the girls into three regions again. So we had Africa and Asia Pacific, we had Europe, and the Americas. And the way they introduced the girls were based off of those three territories. And something they did different this year was, instead of just announcing all the girls, they pre-filmed them just saying their country name. So it's kind of similar to what they used to do earlier on in the early days of Miss Universe, where the girl would announce her name, age, and country. But this year they just, pre-taped them saying their countries, which I liked. One thing I thought was interesting, instead of introducing all the girls, they introduced them by region, and then they picked the top 5 from each region right over there, like right away. And then they brought all the remaining girls back out for Wildcard. Let's start with the top 20, and they started with the 5 delegates from Africa and Asia Pacific, and those girls were South Africa, Philippines, Nepal, Vietnam, and Thailand. Then the delegates from Europe, Poland, Belgium, Great Britain, Hungary, and Ireland. The Americas, Curacao, Costa Rica, Canada, Puerto Rico, and Jamaica. So as they were getting called, they did the standard thing where Steve asks them a question just to kind of get to know them a little bit or something funny. And Costa Rica is a TV presenter in Costa Rica, and he asked her for her opinion on how he was doing tonight, or to give him some advice, and she said, if somebody gives you an important envelope, make sure you read it very carefully and get it correct. So poking fun at Steve's infamous miscrowning back in 2015, where he crowned Colombia instead of Philippines. It was a whole mess, but happy that he can joke about it now. So then they brought all the delegates out again for a wild card portion, where 5 girls, regardless of region, can place for these last 5 spots. So the wild cards ended up being USA, Venezuela, Indonesia, Brazil, and Australia. So overall, 13 of the 20 I predicted placed in the top 20, which is, I think, a pretty fair shot. Like, I could technically judge this competition if I needed to. Some countries that were noticeably left out were India, Kenya, Ecuador, and Colombia. I mean, they were fan favorites. A lot of Instagrammers and pageant vloggers and just pageant experts called them to place. They were really fan favorites, so I'm shocked that they didn't make it. And then we had some surprises in there too, but that's the beauty of this game. Nobody can really call how it's gonna happen because you never really know. So Steve Harvey was the host. This is his 4th year hosting. His first year was in 2015 when he had that whole scandal, and now he's here, still strong. I like Steve Harvey though, I think he's funny. And then Ashley Graham also returned with Luciera and Carson Kressley, and they were doing the kind of like the backstage commentary hosting thing, and they did great. I love Ashley Graham, so I'm happy that I see her doing this still. So a new part of this competition, which I thought I wasn't gonna like, but I really ended up liking a lot, was the contestants' opening statement. So basically all 20 finalists got to go up to the mic and just tell us a little something that they think the world should know about them. That was a cool segment. The majority of these girls' reign, if they were to win Miss Universe, is going to be speaking and talking and meeting people. So it was nice to kind of get to hear every single one of them speak. So I'm not going to go through what every single girl said. I'm just going to go over a few standouts. I thought South Africa and Philippines did very well. South Africa talked about her battle with tuberculosis. Philippines spoke about, you know, pursuing and believing in your dreams. Thailand also did very well. She actually almost, it looked like she was about to cry. She was talking about how her dream was always to be at Miss Universe, and now she's there. Some of them struggled a little bit, like poor Jamaica. I felt so bad for Jamaica. I believe these were pre-rehearsed segments that they've done, that they wrote, because it sounded like they all were trying to remember what they needed to say. And unless they were reading off prompter, she just got so nervous and she froze and she stopped. And it was sad. It was tough to watch. And Venezuela and Hungary, I don't think they had trouble speaking. I think they kind of missed the mark of what they were supposed to be doing. But they got through it and they spoke well. So then after that, they did a tribute to Miss Spain. I knew they were going to do something focusing on Miss Spain. They had a whole video package about her journey. If you guys weren't aware, Miss Spain is the first ever transgender contender to compete at Miss Universe. And they kind of went over her upbringing and how she was bullied. Now her advocacy is teaching people tolerance and acceptance of all people around the world. And then they let her walk on stage in her own, by herself. She took off her Miss Spain sash and was really loving the moment, and I was happy for her. One thing I loved about Miss Spain's package is the quote she said at the end, "I don't need to win Miss Universe, I only need to be here." I think that was just so powerful. Like, you felt that. Being there alone was enough to make a huge impact, so love you, Miss Spain. So from there, we narrowed it down to the top 10, and we learned a little bit about each of them with a special video package as they were coming up. So the top 10 were South Africa, and we found out that she's a medical student. Vietnam, she apparently donated the prize money she won through Miss Vietnam to the countryside in Vietnam to open up a library. Venezuela, she's a law student. Philippines, she's a singer in her country. Costa Rica revealed that she struggled with an eating disorder when she was younger and kind of found her passion in nature, which really helped get her through that tough time in her life. Curacao, studying to become a school teacher. Nepal has a degree in public health and actually paid for her education herself, so good for her. Canada spoke about being raised by a single mom and how her mother inspired her to become a biomedical engineer because I guess her mom was an engineer too. Thailand, to be 100% honest, I have no idea what Thailand said in her video because the crowd was going so insane, so loud. I got some kind of idea that she must run some kind of program, but that's as far as I got. But I love the passion from the Thai people. And last but not least, Puerto Rico. She spoke about Hurricane Maria and how it affected the country and how the country is still remaining strong through the tough time. So the top 10 get to compete in both swimsuit and evening wear. They started with swimsuit, so let's get right into it. I was getting really strong Victoria's Secret vibes when I was watching the swimsuit competition. The girls had kind of like a galaxy print train or cape, if whatever you want to call it, and they were wearing like these shoulder pieces. They look like horns, but it's kind of like a wing if you watch the Victoria's Secret fashion show. So I was getting that a lot. However, I don't understand how the two are related to each other. I don't get how a gold horn and a galaxy cape go with each other. I think if they just kind of had like some kind of piece that connected the cape to them without the horns, it would have been cool. But I like the idea, and it was fun. It allowed them to be kind of flirty and fun on stage. So in between swimsuit and evening wear, we caught up with Demi-Leigh Nel-Peters, Miss Universe 2017. She talked about the work she did throughout the year, and then Steve asked her about her Unbreakable campaign evening gown. Overall, I was very impressed with the evening gown competition this year. Normally there's a few dresses where I'm like, that's why. But this year, I actually liked all 10 dresses that came out. They all looked great. Some of the standouts were South Africa. It was a really nice dress, but she couldn't walk in it, unfortunately. She actually had to stop because the bottom of the dress kept getting caught in her heel. Philippines dress. It was designed after a volcano, I found out through Instagram later. But it's supposed to look like a active volcano. And it was a beautiful dress. It was kind of risque too. I mean, the slit went all the way up. There's a lot of mesh portions of it. Not mesh, but like see-through portions of it. But it was beautiful. Curacao, of course, looked incredible. She actually wore the same dress she wore during prelims. And Canada's dress had this crazy wide train. Wasn't ugly, but it was just like, whoa, where are you going? Like, she almost took up the whole runway. But loved it. The whole point of the evening wear competition is not how the girl looks in the dress or what the dress looks like. It's really how she carries herself in the dress. The dress, she could be wearing a sack. As long as she walks down like she's Miss Universe, she could advance. So from there, we learned who our top 5 are. And they are Puerto Rico, Vietnam, Philippines, South Africa, and Venezuela. They immediately moved into the question round. Again, I'm not going to go over every single answer that the girls gave. The topics, however, were freedom of press, the Me Too movement, thoughts on medical marijuana, immigration and border control, and pageants and feminism. I think they all did very well. I think the two standouts who answered their questions very well were Vietnam and Venezuela. So after the question round, we found out our top 3, and they were Philippines, South Africa, and Venezuela. All amazing candidates, all perfect. I know I said in my last video the thing about Venezuela's hair. It still was putting me off a little bit, but I understand why she is there. She's an amazing speaker, she's beautiful, and something so superficial as hair, like, really, Andrew? Come on. It's not worth sweating over. So then the 3 went on to their final word, and basically the final word is they get asked the exact same question, and they have headphones on so they can't hear each other's answers. The question this year was, what is the most important lesson you learned in your life, and how would you apply it to your time as Miss Universe? I think they all did pretty well. They all were great speakers. I don't want to go too much into it, but it was good. I don't want to bore you with their answers. So then from there, we got the final look with another performance from Neo. Finally, Demi-Leigh gets to take her final walk as Miss Universe 2017. I love Demi. Demi was my favorite from the start last year of the competition. And it's rare that I pick the girl that wins. So I was very excited when she did win, and I've been following her throughout her year. I think she's actually my favorite Miss Universe. And then finally, it's time for the crowning. So they announced the second runner-up, who is Venezuela. I think Venezuela did very well. She definitely shocked me. I didn't think she'd move past top 10 in my initial predictions, but I was pleasantly surprised to learn how good of a speaker she is. And I think it was fair placement for her, and I'm very happy for her. So that brings it down to South Africa and Philippines. Ultimately, the first runner-up ended up being South Africa, which means that Miss Universe 2018 is Philippines, Catriona Gray. I'm very, very excited to see how her year goes. It kind of was known from the beginning. Like, everybody could tell that she was gonna win. There was just something so special about her that it was undeniable. She was Miss Universe. That's what I feel like I look for. Who, when I see them, do I think, wow, that's Miss Universe. So congratulations, Philippines and Catriona. I'm so excited to see you progress through your year. And you did it. You did it. Before I go, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who followed me through this journey. You guys helped me reach some pretty big milestones in my YouTube channel. I reached 1,000 subscribers through these videos, and my last video got over 100,000 views. And I know if you think of it in the scheme of things, that's not much, but for somebody who's a smaller YouTuber, that is a ton of love. So I really appreciate it. So my love goes out to all of you. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button if you guys like this video. Leave me a comment down below. Who do you think got left out of the top 20? Do you agree with who the winner is? And hit subscribe. I put out new videos every week, and I hope you guys will continue to subscribe and see what I have going on. Other than that, it's been an amazing year in pageants. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!